Welcome to BOZstudium. My name is Lainey Rivenbark. I'm the writer of The False War, an animated series about two bottom-of-the-barrel homeless people teaming up with a hitman to influence the political agenda. I'm here with Nicola Akramov to discuss politics. She's a left-leaning Democrat here to tell me how my Democratic president might give a speech. Are you going to make a speech for Lawrence McGovern?
Well, are you recording?
Mm-hmm.
Over the last 6 years of... what's his first name?
Lou Parrish.
Lou?
Because his whole thing is that, like, he was supposed to be, I'm one of you guys. I'm down to earth. I'm like,
Lou.
I'm Lou. I'm like the average person.
Fuck this guy. I fucking hate him. Yeah, do that. That's great. I want to fucking stab that.
You want to see what he looks like?
Yeah, he probably looks like a piece of shit.
Ready?
Oh, I just want to punch him in his privileged piece of shit face. He looks like his dad gave him a small loan of $1 million to start his business. Fucking prick.
Okay, and this is what the new guy looks like.
Oh, he looks like a way better president, yeah. Way less of a piece of
Democrat.
shit.
Okay.
I should be clear. It's not that I think the Democrats are the good guys. I just think that they're less actively trying to fuck specifically me over.
Which is funny. That's why in the story I literally had the audience let in that the liberals are actually just as sleazy as the Republicans. They're just quiet about it. Okay. Make a speech for Lawrence McGovern, but let me try and back up the story a little bit. So, and tell me if this is a good idea, if you have a better idea. That his whole campaign was basically about undoing everything that Parrish did and doing everything better. Like, all of his talking points are about the opposite of things that the Republican Party talked about. Is that accurate, or could it be done better?
I mean, yeah, sounds about right.
Yeah, like his whole selling point is just being the opposite of what we had.
I mean, that's what American politics has devolved into.
I know.
Yeah. And I say devolved into, right? But what is important to realize is this is how politics have pretty much always been. But here's what I would say, is you don't want to be too, like, on the nose. You know, you're writing your own story. You don't need to make... like, how Republicans and Democrats are today does not inform us of how they'll be in 97 years.
No, but this is the point of The False War, is because it's to show, A, that 200 years into the future, not much has changed, and B, it is supposed to directly relate to what's going on in current events, because that's the humorous part of it. It's supposed to be, in a way, an allegory for things that are going on currently in our life. That's why it's a TV series and not a movie, because I want every season to be based on what we're actually dealing with.
Yeah, but what I'm really saying is just, what I'm saying is, like, I can give you, like, broad, you know, descriptors, but, like, you can still make your Democratic Party and Republican Party of 97 years in the future. Like, you can make changes. You don't have to go 100% off of what I'm saying. You know, I'm sure that somebody would completely disagree with me, you know?
No, I know.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, you know, I guess it doesn't even
But you're kind of helping really build one of the major themes, one of the major stories in this.
Good, I'm glad that I can push your politics the correct direction.
Well, it's funny, because the first person I asked about it was an extreme Republican, and he was explaining to me what politics are, because, you know, I really don't know. You know, I have to do a lot of education for this, you know. So yeah, he was telling me what Democrats are and what Republicans are, and I remember asking him.
He thinks the same thing about me that I think about him. Difference is I'm right.
That's what they all say. Anyways, I remember asking him, okay, so then what are the redeeming qualities of the Democrats? And he paused and he says, there aren't any.
I can tell you some redeeming qualities of Republicans.
He said, you're going to have to ask a Democrat for that. And then everybody in the room laughed.
Yeah, imagine being that. That gives me nausea.
What, the fact that everybody laughed in unison?
The fact that they're like, those stupid Democrats. I am on welfare. Let me vote to cut welfare. Like, that shit is... there is nothing I hate more than a non-rich Republican voter.
Yeah, he's got a lot of money. He's got a boat.
Oh, well, okay. Well,
he's
then
got
at
a
least
boat
it makes sense.
and, like, a Dodge Challenger and a fucking...
so he's just an asshole. All right.
No!
Oh, I just... My favorite thing to say when Republican old people get uppity is, this is why your grandkids don't talk to you.
Oh,
but
God.
It's true. But where was I? Yeah, I can give redeeming qualities of Republicans. They tend to be more down to earth. They tend to be more willing to take criticism, except for the, like, really religious ones. Like, you can have a conversation with a Republican. I mean, because we talked about this, too, about how, like... Or, well, actually, no. No, we did, but I also had this conversation with another friend, so I, like, went back and forth on whether we had it. But about, like, how when you have the moral high ground, you kind of want to be a dick about it. You know, I gave you that speech.
And it's the Democrats
who
that
tend to have the moral high ground because they're, you know, all like, let's not kill the gays, you know, let's let women have abortions, you know, shit like that, right? So they tend to have the moral high ground. That's why Democrats are fucking annoying, is because they, you know, think that they're the good guys, and, like, how could you be such an idiot for not agreeing with me on this very minuscule, like, specific thing that really doesn't fucking matter? Like, that's a negative for Democrats, is that there is nothing that people on the relative political left hate more than other people on the relative political left. Where was I going with this? So, that, like, that's why they, you know, because to some degree, like, yeah, they're right, but, you know, it makes them want to be annoying. Now, who on the right act the same way? The religious nuts. Because they're like, you know, God hates fags, like, kill the blah, 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 you know, all that crazy shit, because they, too, have an absolute moral system that they think is correct. Then you have your, like, you know, I got mine, fuck everybody else Republicans, where, like, they can afford healthcare and, you know, they have enough money, so they're fine. And then you have your propaganda victims. These are the people who are on social programs, they're on welfare, and yet they're voting for politicians who are going up on stage talking about fucking freeloading welfare people, you know, 47% of the country doesn't contribute more than they take out in taxes. You know, what a normal person would say to that is like, good, you know, I'm glad that government money is going to people in need. I wish it did so better, you know? What propaganda victims do is they're raised on this insane self-reliance shit, where it's just like, what's the point of having a fucking country if you don't get anything out of the country? Like, why bother? So they're raised on this insane self-reliance shit with absolute authorities in their life. Their preacher, their parents, their, you know, whatever, where they have all these absolute authorities who can't be questioned. And then, you know, a police officer beats somebody to death in the street, and they say, why did he scream when the police officer was beating him? Instead of saying, why did that person in a position of power abuse their power? They instead are trained from birth to view power as good in and of itself. They don't actually view... Do you think Republicans actually want small government? Fuck no. They claim to want small government, but what they really mean is we want to give subsidies to corporations. We want big government to, like, support corporate interests. But when it comes to, you know, healthcare, funding roads, fire department, bridges, whatever, we need small government. The government shouldn't be dealing with that. But, oh, hey, you know, Monsanto, you want another couple billion? Yeah, sure, got you. You know, oh, hey, rich guy, you need me to cut your taxes? Yeah, dude, got you.
it's in
the
a
poor
very...
need medicine? No, we small government. And that's the...
that's when they throw that up.
Yeah, that's what Harry Truman was talking about. That's why I think you need to work that quote in somehow. On the Democrat side, is in 1952 we were talking about this. It is now 70 years later. And still, you know, and you read It Can't Happen Here. That's in the 40s. You know?
And it's still relevant, you're saying?
It's still relevant. The fact that it's still relevant is insane.
So here's the joke of the false war, though. I personally think it's kind of hilarious. The more I learn about politics, the more it seems to fit. The Republican side claims that they're afraid of socialism because they don't understand socialism.
Yeah, that's the Harry Truman quote about socialism.
Right. And so then the irony is that, the audience knows, but none of the followers of McGovern know that he actually hired the Russians to kill the Republican.
I mean, in fairness...
So that his liberal ass could get in and influence America.
In fairness, I think that's fucking dope. If I found out, I would think he's a retard. But, like, if, like, 60 years later, like, I'm like, in my 80s just chilling.
And then
like,
you find
there's
out...
a Freedom of Information Act request, and it turns out that Joe Biden ordered Donald Trump's death and was successful, I'd be like, yo. Like, hell yeah, Democrats finally fighting dirty.
Right.
Because they're fucking good boys, and I hate it. Well, the other party is willing to blatantly lie, push legislation to just make it illegal for people to vote who aren't going to vote the way they want, gerrymander, all this shit. And yeah, Democrats do some of that a little bit. I just wish it was equal. As it stands right now, what happens is Republicans get in, they fuck the whole country up. Democrats get in, argue amongst themselves, and proceed to do barely anything of value. Republicans are like, see, the Democrats didn't do anything. Then they get in, they fuck the country more.
Rinse and repeat.
Nixon was kind of a scumbag, but like really it's like Reagan is where Republicans went to shit completely. Trickle-down economics was the start of Republicans just lying to people, where for decades it's been proven time and time again that, like, no, just giving rich people money doesn't, make poor people
It doesn't
less
end up
poor.
going back into the economy.
Trickle-up economics actually makes sense. If I give you $1,000 right now, what are you going to do? Probably go fix your car or something, or buy a dog, right? If I give Jeff Bezos $1,000, you know what he's going to do? Not fucking that. He's going to just toss it in the bank. He doesn't need that $1,000. But if I give you that $1,000, you go fix your car, that's probably going to be a small business. The mechanic who fixed your car is going to get paid. The guy who owns the mechanic shop is going to get paid, right? They're going to go and they're going to be like, oh, hey, I want to maybe go out to eat. So that money works its way through the economy, causing a series of transactions wherein value is created.
That's trickle
Cars
up.
are fixed. Yeah. That's what happens when you give lower class people money. They spend it and it moves through the economy. And yeah, eventually it gets to the rich guy anyway. Which is why giving it to the rich guy up front makes no fucking sense.
Which is what the Republicans want, is to give, okay.
Yeah. Do you see what I'm saying? I'm not crazy here.
No, I do. I'm glad. I've never understood that concept before. You explained it very well.
Yeah, I'm not crazy. Like, conservatism is bad, okay? Like, I'm not... I sound this incredulous because, like, I used to believe this shit.
This is why I need another writer to be an expert on this type of shit.
Well, as I said, if you have questions, I can answer them and hopefully be
My
of
question
help.
is this. Would you, sir, like to join the False War writing team?
Could I just, like, throw lines at you? Because that's really scary and daunting, and, like, I don't want to be an official writer on the False War. And what they're going to do is they're going to do a lot of personal attacks, projection. Facts don't necessarily matter to them. You can say that you'll catch Democratic politicians in a lie. You can. I'm just saying that Democratic politicians tend to, if they're lying,
But this
be
is
a little
the
more
Republican.
Yeah.
That's
I'm just saying, like, as a contrast.
That still applies?
No, this applies to Democratic politicians. They're going to be a little more circumspect. They're not going to be as bold. Republicans will just say a falsehood.
Oh.
They don't give a fuck.
Oh.
And here's why. Because they have Fox News, Tucker Carlson, blah, 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 blah. They have an entire propaganda apparatus built to get people to believe falsehoods. Have you noticed, like...
Hence the name, the False War.
Yeah, but you don't know anything about politics, so you being a Republican is understandable, and I don't hold it against you because it's one of ignorance. I used to be a Republican when I was 17.
It doesn't mean that I believe in all Republican beliefs. I just think that I lean more on that side. I used to call
even know what it means to lean on that
I used
side.
to call myself a liberal for all these years until I realized
Republicans are liberals. They're all liberals. Calling Democrats liberals is just idiocy made up by Republicans. By the very nature of us living in a liberal democracy, which means one in which everybody can vote and we, like, engage in, like, fucking Congress and everything else. Like, We're all liberals. Liberalism is like the concept of American society. And this is why Republicans are anti-intellectual.
Oh, this can be a speech that the other guy does about the liberals. Our great country was built on the foundation of
liberalism. Yes, like that's literally.
Can you make
fact.
a speech for that guy now? Would that take that and run with it? Make a speech for the other party who is a Democrat, the one that assassinates the other guy. To take his place.
Is he a bad guy?
It's not that easy. So the story is set up purposely in the beginning so that you think that President Parrish, the Republican, is the bad guy. You get this really racist speech about crossovers and the way he talks, and he's harsh, and everybody thinks he's going to cause another false war, which is why he's ultimately assassinated. It's set up like he's the bad guy, and then you introduce President McGovern, who, you know, he smiles for the camera, he's wicked charming, and he sells himself as being, I care about everybody, the liberal way, but he's actually borderlining fascism. And that doesn't become...
Fascism.
That doesn't become apparent until later on.
Okay, I can
But he is kind of a bad guy, if you want to put it that way. It's supposed to make...
So you're saying, what if Democrats
supposed to make the people realize, what we thought was bad for us wasn't necessarily bad for us.
So you're saying you want to write actually politically competent Democrats?
I don't know. Throw me your speech. What do you got for...
I don't know what I've got for you yet, but... Ooh. Democrats who are willing to lie, cheat, and steal like Republicans? That's amazing!
Yes,
I wish that they were willing to do that.
That's what McGovern is. Okay, by the way, first of all, tell me if this is the name of a real person, because it's not supposed to be. I named him Mark McGovern. Is that a real name?
Yes.
Fuck! That's so embarrassing!
I don't know, just name him like Lawrence McGovern.
Oh, I like that. I'm gonna give a little context. The False War was named after a devastating war that took place many years ago. The aftermath of its weapons was that they opened some holes in the time-space continuum, which means that things from other time periods and other dimensions can traipse in and out of our reality at any time. Now, anything that's not from the world that the series takes place in is known as a crossover. And by the way, sorry, late spoiler alert, this isn't revealed till later in the series, because you're getting it from the point of view of Callum, our 19-year-old freshly homeless person who just aged out of the orphanage. He doesn't know what's going on, and neither do you. Essentially, these crossovers are used as an allegory for any kind of minority, or somebody on welfare, or racism in general. Now, I'm going to read an excerpt from the show Bible. It's the description of the president who's in office when the series takes place, and then the one who takes his place in the following season. Just to give you a little background, meet Lou Parrish, President of the United States.
Fuck that guy.
This Republican has no in-betweens. You either love him or hate him. Outspoken and authoritarian, this far right-wing leader pushes boundaries. Painted in a negative light by the public, often described as a bigot, his supporters often keep their support a secret, unless you're...
No, they wouldn't.
Unless you're a right-wing extremist.
They wouldn't keep their support a secret. If he's the president, he would have had to have... Unless you want to make a point about how you can technically win the presidency with 17% of the vote because the Electoral College is stupid, that could actually be pretty funny. If you gave him an electoral map, and there are some where you can win the presidency with absurdly low percentages of the popular vote.
Oh, so that's true.
Yeah.
Note taken. While his methods may seem harsh, he is looking out for the best interest of the country as a whole, not the individual.
Are you writing the propaganda now?
Parrish believes in old-school values, minimal government influence.
Fuck this guy.
And the Constitution.
Well done.
He doesn't tiptoe around, and this scares other countries and Americans alike, as he's not afraid to make waves amongst other political powers.
And they're almost always retarded, too, huh?
Okay, so this... Meet Mark McGovern.
I am so glad he's gonna kill that fucker.
A good-willed Democrat who will do anything he has to. He's not one to be played with. Unsentimental and straightforward.
Yes!
But ultimately humanitarian.
He sounds fucking lit.
However, when he takes Parrish's place as president in episode 6, it's not the improvement you'd think it is. The common belief is that McGovern is running America into the ground and destroying morals with his soft left-wing policies. Republicans love to label...
Common to who? I don't think you can... No, this is an actual legitimate question I have. I don't think you could have it simultaneously be that the Republican president had no support at all and that the majority of Americans are against the new president.
No, it's not that he didn't... I never said he didn't have any support. I said that people they don't really voice it. Like, some people don't want to be under fire to admit that they like him, so some people keep it a secret.
I mean, I could see some, but...
They would still vote for him.
I feel like, do we see that in reality? I'm not gonna, tell you you're wrong, this is your story.
I'll consider it.
I'm just saying, look at Trump supporters. They're not fucking quiet. I wish they were. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
What's the Republican president's name?
President Parrish, who's deceased, so keep in mind that that's an element of the way he'll be brought up.
So this is him as president now. Alright, so he'd probably say something to the effect of, over the last 6 years of Lou Parrish's presidency, the national debt has skyrocketed, and he cut taxes on the wealthiest 1% of Americans.
Is that something
and now,
a Republican?
Yes, that's 100% something a Republican would do. And now, after the tragedy on insert date here, with the dust barely settled, they start their cry. The Republican Party has been the boy who cried wolf for 250 years.
Would they really just throw the other side under the bus like that directly?
Yes. At this point, yeah. They wouldn't have done it 30, 40 years ago that aggressively. But,
especially in 2117.
So I'm going to say, phrase this better than I am, but basically what he should point out is that for the last 2 centuries, one word has been the fearful rallying cry of the Republican Party. Socialism. 165 years ago, on October 10th, 1952, President Harry Truman said socialism is a scare word they have hurled at every advance the people have made in the last 20 years. Socialism is what they called public power. Socialism is what they called social security. And now, in 2117, like a broken record, still, socialism. They cry it whenever we want to feed starving children in Texas, when we want to allow lower income women access to reproductive health care. And now, the newest lie from the Republican Party, they're calling our fight to end the crossover concentration camps socialism. The United States, throughout its history, has been the country that has said, I can. I can go to the moon. I can go to Mars. I can defend Europe from the Soviet Union. I can, whatever, insert, America good shit here. For the last century, the Republican Party has been the party of America can't. We can't give those people rights. We can't manage to do a national healthcare system. It doesn't matter that every other civilized country on the planet has done it. We can't do that here. We can't allow these migrants in. We can't take care of our homeless on our streets. The rallying cry of the Republican Party, then, is really 2 things. We can't do that. And socialism, a word we don't even know the meaning of, scares us. Something that I would say.
How would I word it in the speech about relocating? Sending them to the concentration camps under the guise of relocation.
They can clean up their language however they want. Relocation. Work education programs. Cleaning up the streets. The fact of the matter is, once a displaced person goes into this system, we don't know where they go. There's no accountability. My first month in office has been spent performing a comprehensive takedown of the relocation program. And I will be the first to inform the American people that this shit be mad fucked up, yo. I don't fucking know. Like, I don't see this as
that
the
the
point where
moral structure of America is crumbling.
No, that's Republican.
What's the Democrat version?
He would say something to the effect of what he should say is that we have failed our American ideals.
And that's how he closes his speech?
Not that way. I'm like running out of words. Like, you put me on the
Is
spot.
that how we want to represent our nation?
Not just to represent our nation, though. I think he should be going for the fact that, like, the real, America as described by the Founding Fathers, like, what America is meant to be, what we have built our national myth on, is that we're the good guys. Putting people in concentration camps is a bad guy thing to do. That's what it boils down to. So that, in prettier words, he should be saying that. But yeah, and then he would just do the typical, like, you know, good night, God bless America, blah, 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 shit, or whatever.
So my question to you is, how would you word that whole thing as if it was a speech to the public?
We're not deporting crossovers. We're moving the laziest member, not laziest, but yeah, he would definitely say we're not deporting crossovers. He would say the criteria based on which they are moving these people, they're putting people who can't produce anything in society and are a drain on the resources made by taxpayers.
Mention that they're in
not
welfare.
Taxpayers.
I did, actually.
Mention that they're on welfare. And yeah, he's going to do everything in his power to avoid saying we have concentration camps for this type of people.
One of the things that he should say is displaced people, because when you say displaced people, you know it's people that crossed over from another dimension because they have nothing. So he'll say displaced people instead of crossovers, which is something that I need to change in the script. Let me actually try
Maybe you should say unskilled displaced people, because they probably don't care about crossover like scientists.
They don't like it because they're, like, taking up a lot of space.
We are not deporting crossovers.
Relocating. There's nowhere to deport them to because they can't put them back where they came from.
We are not
relocating.
Hold on. Well, they literally are doing that. Like, that would be a ball. Well, they do lie. Good point. I mean, they do. Like Trump has told some very bold lies.
Are you a Trump supporter, though?
No. I'm intelligent, lady.
My bad.
There is no program in the Republican Party's platform to relocate crossovers. What we have in the works is a program to house unskilled, displaced persons arriving on American soil until they can be rehabilitated and introduced into society. These people are not taxpayers. They're a drain on our resources. They commit crime, and most of them don't even speak the language. because they just came from another dimension.
Yeah.
This is just another lie from the liberal media that always twists things around. He would definitely say that. The press is not a friend of the American people.
You're so good at this.
Their job is to feed lies into your ears. Paid for by the Soros family in order to make America weaker.
Who is the Soros family?
They own I think Soros owns the New York Times. I'm assuming.
Oh, so it's the owner of some kind of...
super rich.
It's the owner of some kind of, like, news franchise, though?
Yeah, like, there are a lot of conspiracy theories about... Which, in fairness,
okay,
conspiracy
so note
theories
to
about...
self, I need to create a rich news franchise owner.
Well, just, like... Yeah, you can...
Because I can't use real, like, people's...
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
Like, throw out a bunch of them, because what they like to do is just kind of, like, vomit a bunch of, like, crazy shit. And then I think, like, you would go further and you'd be like, not only are the Democrats raising unproven allegations and falsehood in the chambers of Congress at this very moment, but when we look to the past, during the... Insert previous Democratic president's name here. During his presidency, crossover disappearances were at all-time highs. So for the Democratic Party to raise these accusations with no proof, I find it to be despicable. That's another thing they really like to do. They're going to project what they're doing onto the opponent and run with it hard.
Huh. Wait, so why are crossovers disappearing?
I don't
During
know.
the other...
Like, they just throw out bullshit statistics. You can insert whatever BS statistic you want. It doesn't even have to be true. Do you think their followers are going to check?
So we've heard it from the left. Next we need somebody from the Republican side to come on and tell their opinion. Tell it from their point of view. False War is going to be a very well-rounded show with a lot of research conducted, and so if you're interested in helping our writers develop it or becoming a writer yourself, go ahead and reach out to us. You can also check out our website to see more of our projects and what we're about. Well, thank you for listening. Come back anytime. We'll always have a place for you here.